Welcome to the Coachzing Show, offering you the latest creative content marketing tips to help you work less, earn more, and help more people. Are you a coach zinger yet? Join the community where the world's best coaches, therapists, authors, and speakers come to discover the latest industry trends and partner with other like-minded professionals. Go to coachzing.com/community to join. And now, here's your host, Doug Foresta.
Hello and welcome back to the Coachzing Show. This is Doug Foresta, your host, and today we're going to be talking about a topic that we actually have not discussed on the show yet. We've discussed blogs, we've discussed podcasts, we've discussed all kinds of things, but today we're going to be talking about web TV. And my guest today is Janet Beckers, and truly she is an expert in this area, so I definitely know you'll get a lot out of it. I just want to remind you, this is a show where we help you speakers, coaches, therapists, and authors to work less, earn more, and help more people through creative content marketing. Also want to remind you that if you'd like to get a transcript of this episode, go ahead and visit coachzing.com/community and become a Coach Zinger. You can sign up to become a Coach Zinger, and you'll get a transcript of this episode and every episode. So I'm just going to say a little bit about Janet and bring her on, but I'm as excited as you are to learn more about web TV and how she's used it to build her business and how you can use it to build yours as well. Australian Janet Beckers took the internet industry by storm when she went from totally unknown to an award-winning six-figure business in just a few months. She is known as the Wonderful Web Woman and has gone on to mentor thousands of people around the world, become a best-selling author, movie star, international speaker, and even won the award Australian Marketer of the Year. She's done all this without spending a cent on advertising. Her entire business has been built on relationships, and she's developed a system to show you how to do the same. She has a reputation for telling things the way they really are without the hype and with a cheeky sense of humor. I love using the word cheeky. We don't get to use that very much in America. It is my pleasure to introduce Janet Beckers. Janet, thank you for joining me.
Hi, Doug. It's wonderful to be here, and thank you, everybody, for your time.
Thank you. So, yeah, let's start with talk about this idea of it's really fascinating that you really went from, like you said, like a total unknown to all the success that you've had using web TV, correct?
Well, the going from unknown to really becoming well known, that was a few years ago, and I did that through interviews, actually, just like we're doing now. Yeah, and but that was a few years ago where there weren't as many people doing it, and so that process was doing a telesummit and really just took off something fierce. But the interesting thing that I found, so following on from that, actually you'll relate to this, Doug, that
Sure.
So when I started with Wonderful Web Women, I was interviewing women who'd been successful online, and my mentors, people who I knew, were saying it's never going to work because, there's not enough successful women. There's not really that many successful women. They're not doing anything online, and they're not going to really want to be interviewed. And everybody thinks you're a radical feminist, and they won't want to be part of it. Well, I ended up interviewing a different successful woman for 2 years. It was going to be an 8-week project. I went for 2 years. The business people resonated so well that thousands of people flocked to the community. Saying that women don't buy was crazy. And interestingly, I've always attracted to a business that was called Wonderful Web Women. I've always attracted a really beautiful, healthy component of men and the really nice type of guys that, are not threatened by
Right.
women.
I mean, that's so sexist. I mean, honestly, it's so, aside from the fact that it's foolish and stupid, it's very sexist.
Well, I didn't want to discount it, so I really did my research beforehand. So because I was looking for women online, I went to internet marketing events and hung around in the women's toilets at the breaks with an MP3 recorder going up and down the queue going, if I can find successful women, what do you want me to ask? What do you want? I did my market research. That was just where I happened to do it. And that's an important thing with content marketing is you have to make sure that you're actually speaking the right language to the right people.
Yes.
And that you're going to be connecting with them. And you can't do that unless you've done your market research. So, you've got to find where is the equivalent of your line up in the women's toilets at an internet marketing event, where's your equivalent? Fortunately now you can do a lot of your research through Facebook. Is a great place looking for interest groups to be able to just hear what people are saying and see what kind of demand there is. So I think that's one reason why it took off so well, because I knew my market intimately before I launched. And the same thing happens with my web TV. Is I know my market intimately. So people will say to me, Janet, it's like you could read my mind. It's like you were talking to me. And I come back and I go, it's because I can, darling. I can read your mind. Because I've researched and I've talked enough to my market to know.
So actually, one of the things I realized that I want to make sure, for listeners is, when we talk about a web TV program, can you actually describe what that is for people who might be wondering? Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. So web TV, you could be thinking of it as vlogging, video blogging. You could be thinking of it as a YouTube channel, those sorts of things. Now, what makes it different is, number one, is you're doing it absolutely on a regular basis. And it has branding so that it is, and that's very easy, having like your sort of intro clip before and at the end. And it's very, very short. So 3 minutes, 5 minutes maximum. Now, the purpose of this is, it's not just that you've got like a video blog or YouTubing. It's because you're doing it every single week at the same time, covering only just one topic, one question, quite, just to the point and not going into huge detail. Because you're doing this and you're connecting with your target market every single week, with your subscribers, and you're looking them in the face, you're staring them in the eyes, you're connecting with them every single week, and you're sending that subliminal message of, I am always here for you. I do not let you down. I am reliable. So you're consistently having that brand, you're consistently connecting, and you're making sure that whatever you're saying is very, very focused to the person who is likely to become your most, your best customer. So that's where it's different. It's basically a strategy around the idea of using video, but we syndicate it so that it goes to YouTube. It also goes to your blog. It goes out to your mailing list. It goes to Facebook. It goes to LinkedIn, to Twitter. Importantly, it also goes to iTunes, because, as you know, Doug, with your podcasting, that is an area where there are a huge number of growing people looking for great ways to connect and have you on their phone, which is what we've all got permanently attached to us these days.
Yeah, in the new iPhone, the app for iTunes is going to be native, which means it can't be removed. So it's going to be really, really big. And iTunes, I think, just reached 1 billion subscriptions to their.
Wow.
So yeah, that's a great place to be.
And the thing with while we're talking about iTunes is, with podcasting, the number of people who are using video podcasting is just a fraction of the people who are using audio, and yet the growth in people using video is just exploding. So if you can get in early, before that area starts to get saturated, you've owned the market. You're really standing out different to the other people who are in your industry. And because people look at videos on their phones, and it's important. That's why it's important that you don't make them any more than 3 minutes, 5 minutes max, because people just won't watch for any longer than that, not on a regular basis.
Yeah.
They'll go and look at the one with the cats.
Yeah. Thus, my listeners know that I believe that the internet was secretly started by cats to spread their word.
Well, that's a good conspiracy theory. I like it.
Yeah. So you mentioned one of the one mistake I think that people could make, which is making a really long, making a 20-minute video, web TV program. But what are some other mistakes that you see or that people could fall into when they're starting to create a web TV program?
Yeah, sure. There's one that people, this is probably the biggest one, Doug, is they're creating their videos, but they're not creating the content, and they're not talking to what I call your profitable avatar. So if your avatar is the person that you're imagining that is like a composite of your customer, the perfect person, because it really helps when you're creating a video that you're just talking to one person rather than feeling as if you're talking to thousands. But they're not necessarily pitching what they're talking about to the person who's going to spend money with them. So I'll give you a quick example of one woman who's in my Me TV program, and there I teach people how to do this. And she works with companies to help them just training with staff to do with teamwork, get teams working together. So when she was starting to create her content, sure, there's heaps of stuff she could talk about. For example, she might talk about personality types. But the message, so she could give really, really good content. But what was missing is the final little bit where she ties it into the person who actually makes the decision to spend money, which is the owner of the business or the person in that management role. They want to know, how is that going to make me money or save me money or save time? So just that simple thing that you put at the end that puts it into the context for the person who makes the decision to spend the money with you, right, is something that people do all the time. They do it wrong. You have to make that connection for people. Otherwise, your effect is not going to be as profitable as you want it to be. So that would be the number one problem that I see that people do wrong all the time.
That makes a lot of sense because, like you said, otherwise people go, oh, that's interesting, right? It doesn't have that. It doesn't have the effect of, well, why should I care?
And there's been some interesting research done by Forbes, I think it is, where there was a huge percentage of people who actually, I think it was something like about, I haven't got the numbers in front of me, something like about 60% of executives watch video for business. But the important part was, of those, it was something that was like 75% go and click through to have a look at the website of the person who made that video. So it's not just out there with YouTube, with the cats. It is actually being used by business. So you've got to make sure that you are talking to that person who's going to be making that decision when they come to your website to, that they're the person that can make the decision to spend the money with you.
Interesting.
Is really important. I think one of the things that people also do wrong is they think that this is a really expensive and complicated thing to do. Now, the reason I started Me TV was I did a newsletter every week, and I did that for years. Worked really, really well for me, very profitable. But I noticed a while ago now that the number of people clicking on it, opening it, was decreasing. So naturally I thought, oh, it's me. But I started having a talk to a few of my colleagues, quietly going, look, I've got a confession. People don't love me anymore, And then they were going, yeah, the same thing's happening with me, with my newsletters. So I started, so that's one lesson. Don't always think it's you, okay? So I started noticing what things people did interact with, and if ever I included a link to a short video in my newsletters, that's what people were spending their time on. They would leave comments, they would be watching that. So I thought, well, why am I spending, probably about half a day a week creating this newsletter when all I really want is the video? So, bugger it, I'll just do the video. So that's how Me TV started. I've gone from spending, at least half a day a week. Like, I was putting really good content into this, and that was with an assistant helping me as well.
Wow.
I can get 3 months of videos done, and that includes getting the videos made, getting them uploaded, getting them onto the website, getting them syndicated. In the equivalent, so 12 weeks of marketing, I can spend the equivalent of a day and a half. It is not something that is complicated. you do it all in one go. You just batch it. So you have you might have half a day where you're doing all your videoing, uploading, getting it all done. There's very little editing because they're so short. If you stuff it up, you just do it again. And you just get it all, you automated, and then you move on and you do your other things. You don't have to spend all of your time, spending all of your time doing this marketing in and out every single week. So I think that's where people go wrong. They try to complicate it, and they try to make it, a huge, content. They try to spend way too long creating it. They try to complicate it way too much, thinking they need a really fancy studio. I do not use a fancy studio.
I was going to ask you that question about.
Either.
Yeah, I was going to ask you, I know listeners will want to know, does it cost a lot to do this?
Absolutely not. Well, what I can do, if people go to wonderfulwebwomen.com/MeTV, I've got heaps of free training there. And I also take you behind the scenes. I've got a video that I show you behind the scenes showing you my very sophisticated, studio setup. And it really helps for you to be able to see, because I show you every single thing that I use. But to give you an idea, if you have got some video capability on your camera, on your phone, because a lot of mine I'll just shoot with my iPhone, or I also have other cameras. The cameras, you don't have to go out and get an expensive one. You've probably already got it and you're carrying it in your pocket. If you've got that, you can start doing it. You do not need to set up a fancy studio with green screens and all that lots of light. I shoot most of mine sitting on my lounge, or sometimes I'll sit on the floor, so that I can have, the cushions behind me as a bit of a backdrop that's on my lounge. And I do have a tripod, but a lot of times I just can't be bothered setting it up, so I just rest my phone or my camera on a pile of books on the coffee table.
Wow.
That's it. The software that you can be using for editing your videos often comes with your computer. There's lots of free stuff out there. We show people in our programs exactly how to do all the editing with all the different programs. If you have trouble with lighting, we also show people how to do that. But you can go and get lighting that, if you're in a darkened area that you can't use natural light, you don't have to go and spend hundreds and hundreds of dollars on really fancy light equipment. You can do, like a rig up, with a light and a few pieces of paper to filter it, for $25. You go and get these lights from the hardware store. It's not expensive. It doesn't have to be complicated. It doesn't take a lot of time, but everybody thinks it's the opposite, which has the advantage for you, because you look like you're a total rock star with, great professionalism, and you must have a fantastic, great professional setup to be able to
right, because they're like, well, I could never do that.
You don't.
Right.
All my clients. Yeah, they do. Well, your competitors are going, I couldn't do it. It's way too complicated. Your potential clients and your existing clients, because this is where it's powerful with your existing clients. They're looking at you thinking, wow, that person's so got their act together. They're very professional. That's who I'm going to choose to go with, rather than Neville Nobody that, they never have a connection with, because they never actually get to, hear them and see them. And so, it really, just because people think it's difficult means that there's not many people going to do it. So it's easy for you to own your space. And this is a really important thing. The other thing that people do wrong is they try to sell in these videos, Doug. This is a gift that you are giving people. You're not selling. Occasionally I might go, oh, by the way, go over to my MeTV program or whatever. But I'll say to people, oh, here, look, blatant plug. I'm quite open about, this is just not normal, because it's a gift that you're giving to people. And you don't have to make the sales on the video, because you're building such a relationship with people that I find, and my clients find this too, that people will contact them and say, look, I've been watching your TV program for a few months now, every week. I don't always comment, but, I've been watching you, and I've known that, when I needed a mentor, you're the one that I'm going to have, and I'm ready now. So they're pre-sold. You've already built up that relationship with people. You know,
Right.
You don't have to sell. Oops, sorry.
No problem.
You don't have to sell on the computer. Sorry, that's my
No problem.
that's my alarm going off. That's my normal wake up time.
Oh, right, that's right. Because exactly, I should say we're across the world from each other. That's one of the.
Yeah.
Well, I really appreciate what you shared, and I know people are going to want to learn more. So, you said that if people go to wonderfulwebwomen.com/metv, right, they can access more. More training.
Lots of free training there for you that shows you, what to do, what not to do, and the whole setup. And there's a webinar you can have, I can show you lots of case studies actually of our clients, other people who've been doing it in lots and lots of different niches.
Well, I really appreciate you coming on. Of course, my guest is Janet Beckers. I really appreciate you coming on and sharing this because it is very unique. It's not something a lot of people are doing. And like I said, I was really excited to talk to you about this because it is something really different. And I think it's a way that, for listeners, if you want to stand out and you want to do something different, what a great way to differentiate yourself in the market. So thank you so much for coming on.
Oh, thank you so much for having me, Doug. And I'd love to hear from you if you take action on anything I've shared with you today. Just contact me and let me know. Come over on Facebook or over to my website and just let me know what you've done. I love hearing, of people who take action. It's really rewarding.
Thank you. So thanks everyone for listening. As always, we'll be back Monday through Friday with more great guests, helping you to work less, earn more, and help more people through creative content marketing. And I also want to say to you as well that all this information is great, but you have to take action on it. So get out there and go do it. Till next time, this is Doug Foresta at the Coachzing Show.
Thanks for listening to the Coachzing Show. Need help getting your book out of your head and onto paper? Need help marketing your books or speaking engagements? We can do it for you. Go to Coachzing.com to learn more. Are you a Coach Zinger yet? Join the Coach Zingers community where the world's best coaches, therapists, authors, and speakers meet. You'll get exclusive access to private mastermind calls where you can get instant marketing help from industry experts. Plus, we'll help you forge deals and partnerships with other like-minded professionals. Go to CoachZing.com/community to join now.